it is Valentine's Day today, and for some people that may be a really sad thing if they don't have anyone to spend it with, but I want to tell you a story. I was going grocery shopping today, about an hour or so ago. I got all ready to go grocery shopping. I mean, look at my outfit, okay? I've got this pretty skirt from Francesca's. I've got this brandy top. I washed my hair and blow dried it. I got Starbucks. I set up my day. Well, actually, when I woke up this morning, which was about 10:30, I stayed in bed for an hour scrolling on my phone. The one thing I did not want to do. That was the one thing I told myself we are not doing. And I did it. It's fine. It's not the biggest deal in the world. But the reason why I was spending that hour in my bed on my phone scrolling is because I remembered what day it was. And I told myself the night before that I was going to have a good day today. I was going to be productive. Yada this, yada that. And then I woke up and I was like, oh God, I'm alone on Valentine's Day. This day I was going to be so prepared to have a good day and not be on my phone. But I woke up and it hit me and it's Valentine's Day and I'm alone. Anyway, I eventually got up, took a shower, got ready, and headed on my way to the grocery store. And I'm on my way to the grocery store in the car, and this is where I have my best conversations. I need to literally start making sure my camera is charged all the time and keeping it in my car, because I will have these conversations with myself and I'll literally pretend like I'm talking to the camera, and I will say like evolutionary things. I feel like I will say things and things will click in my brain and I'll be like, whoa. So anyway, I had this epiphany in my car, and in my car, I was saying to myself, like, did I never realize this because I care so much about external validation, or is it society that stops me from being able to realize this? I realized I can just be my own Valentine. Like, I don't really need to have anyone to spend Valentine's Day with to have a good Valentine's Day and to have it be successful. And I know that's like kind of a basic, simple thing to realize, like, yeah. But hear me out. A lot of people get so sad and so upset that they don't have anyone to spend Valentine's Day with, and that they don't have anyone to celebrate a relationship with, or get, I don't want to say the word validation, because when you're with someone and you build that connection, at that point, it's not about feeling validated from them, but when you're alone and you're sad, I feel like it is kind of a little bit about that. And so anyway, I was like, whoa, I can be my own Valentine. And it's also like, if I'm going to have someone else as my Valentine and they have to spend money on me and I have to spend money on them, it's a little easier if I'm my own Valentine, because then I can just buy stuff for myself that I know I'll like. I don't have to act like I'll potentially like something someone else gets me or anything, right? Also, I still got ready to celebrate Valentine's Day, even though I don't have a Valentine. I'm my own Valentine, and Galinda's my Valentine. But you know what I mean. It's very hard to be positive about Valentine's Day when you don't necessarily have a Valentine. So I also was saying in the car, like, if one day out of the year, if any, I think it should be Valentine's Day, especially if you don't have a Valentine, your Valentine is yourself. And it's the one day of the year you can really do anything you want and not have to there's no excuses. There's no planning that has to be done. If you're your own Valentine, you can literally do what you want. And so I was playing this scenario out in my head where someone asked me, oh, what did you do for Valentine's Day? And imagine being able to be like, oh, I woke up, decided I wanted to go to the beach that day, so I just did. And I got a great meal afterwards. I got to tan, and I just went to the beach. You just went to the beach. You didn't have to plan it. No, I just felt like going. You didn't have to coordinate with anyone or tell anyone where you were going. No, No, I just went. How magical is that? And like, I understand that you can do that any day. I'm saying that if you were to, if you're not the type of person to usually do that, and you so happen to be spending Valentine's Day on your own, use Valentine's as that day to do whatever you want and not have to plan or let anyone know or make excuses. Just do whatever you want. And I think that way too, we can really start having fonder memories of Valentine's Day, because it's like, yeah, I spent Valentine's Day alone, but I literally did whatever I wanted. I went to the beach, or I bought this thing I had really been wanting for myself that I kept making excuses for me to buy. I ended up buying it on Valentine's Day because I was my own Valentine. And it was really awesome. I'd been wanting that thing for so, like, do you understand what I mean? It's changing the narrative. And so while I do think part of me being sad about not having a Valentine's is because I want that validation and I want to be desired, I also do think part of me feels that way in the first place because of society and how normalized it is to have to be with somebody. This is something I'm working through a lot, and I need to understand before it's too late. It's so nice to be friends with yourself and to enjoy your own company, because, and I think, again, this is a little bit from society and normalizing it, but everyone, like, the way that I see it is like, I'm going to be married someday, I'm going to have kids, but whatever. That might not happen, but that's how I see my future. And the reason why I see it that way, I think, is because of how normalized that, like, nuclear family still kind of is. And, like, something that is just not necessarily clicking right away in my brain, but I really want it to, is that you're not going to get that time back of being alone once you're married to someone, once you have kids, once you are in this serious committed relationship. And of course you would spend Valentine's Day with them, right? Like, the time alone is actually really important, even if we think it sucks, even if we think that it's lame. It's really not, actually. I totally understand being sad and upset on Valentine's Day. I do. And I can understand why it would be sad and upsetting if it's multiple Valentine's Days in a row where you're not celebrating with someone. But I'm going to repeat this. I think if you change the narrative and you make Valentine's Day that one specific day where you just do anything you want, you buy whatever you've been wanting for yourself, you get off your phone, you don't tell anyone, like, just to completely have that free will and make it to where it's on Valentine's Day so you can have fonder memories of Valentine's Day. Like, I think that is a really smart, innovative, exciting way to look at it. And I say it like that because I constantly make excuses for myself on why to not do something. Like, I'll want to buy something and I'll be like, no, I can't. Like, I'm a college student, I'm broke. Like, I don't have the resources or whatever. Or like, no, I can't drive all the way to the beach by myself because, like, that's so depressing. Like, no, I can't just do whatever I want. And like, what? I feel like you would get so much better stories out of using Valentine's Day as a way to do whatever you want, whenever you feel like it, one day of the year, to just go ballistic on free will. Instead of being like, yeah, I was alone on Valentine's Day and I was sad. Like, ugh, I hope I'm making sense, but it's like, you can so easily be like, yeah, I was alone on Valentine's Day, but like, I woke up, I went to a Pilates class because I felt like it, and then I like took myself and I bought myself something nice. I got my nails done, I got my hair done, like, and I don't usually do that for myself, but I did it on Valentine's Day because I was my own Valentine, and it was fucking lit. It was awesome. Like, I don't want to just keep rambling about the same thing, but I think it's so easy to look around at people who are in different spots than you and get upset about it. And like, it's so much easier to be negative than to make the most of your situation, when like being alone on Valentine's Day is not even that bad of a situation to be in. Like, there's a lot of stress when you have to spend Valentine's Day with someone else as well, especially if it's like a newer relationship and you don't know what to get them, or you like, what if you're spending Valentine's Day with someone and they don't get you what you want and you have to pretend to like it? Or it's like, obviously if you've been with someone for a long time, I think more and more the stress goes away. But also, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of nuance in this, and I feel like you could be like, oh yeah, every Valentine's Day I've spent it with someone. So it was never about you, huh? It was always about you and someone else. You never got to spend Valentine's Day and made the day all about you. See, like what I mean when you switch the narrative, that sounds kind of sad. Like, oh, you've spent every year of Valentine's Day with someone else, and it was never fully about you. It was always you involved with someone else. And like, does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like I'm really trying to be positive and like make the best out of a bad thing when it's really not bad at all. But yeah, I don't know. It makes me sad that everyone gets sad that they spend Valentine's Day alone, when it really, I feel like, doesn't have to be that way. I think it's a really good use of free will to be your own Valentine. Right? Right? Let's try to look at it that way. I don't know. Also, another thing too. Something I just want to throw out there. Not to be problematic or anything, but you could be one of those people who has friends that are all in relationships except you, and you're like, oh, I'm so sad, like all my friends are with their boyfriends today and like I'm by myself. Let me ask you a question, and be so freaking honest with me, please, or at least be honest with yourself. Would you want to be in any of those relationships that your friends are in? Would you want to have the exact boyfriend that your friend has? Now, he could be an amazing guy, he could be an amazing boyfriend, and you could be saying yes. And if you are saying yes and you genuinely think that that man is good for your friend and he does what he needs to do, then I promise you your time will come. I think a lot of good men are more rare than bad men. And he just hasn't found you yet, but I promise he's thinking about you as well. I promise, okay? And I think even that is like so exciting to think about. Like, he hasn't found me yet, but he will, Like, I think thinking about that too makes it easier to spend time with yourself, because you like have something to look forward to, right? Anyway, if you're looking at your friends' relationships and you're like, I would never let a man like that date me or treat me that way, don't be jealous that they're spending Valentine's Day together. You would not even be happy in that situation. Valentine's Day does not make it any difference. Valentine's Day does not make it any different. So, just think about that when you're like, oh, I'm so sad and alone. But isn't being alone better than being with someone who gives you anxiety and treats you like shit and doesn't really fulfill you? Like, they may make you happy, but are they fulfilling you? Those are two very, very different things, I think. I think a lot of people will also settle for Valentine's Day just to say that they spent it with someone else. And I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I feel like there have been instances, and it wasn't specifically on Valentine's Day, but where I have done that, and I feel like kind of made me feel like emptier. I don't know. Because like I knew, like, would I pick you to spend my time with? No. But I am, because, yeah, and I'm not even trying to sound like a terrible person. I think a lot of people do that, so I'm not going to shit on myself. It happens to everyone, but it's like, oh, I'm just hanging out with you to say that I'm hanging out with someone. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to the other person. Do something today that will make you realize hanging out with yourself is fun. If you don't like hanging out with yourself, you have made it that way. And again, like when I am speaking, I'm speaking to myself too, because I have the issues that I talk about are the issues I have. I want to make that very clear. I'm not going to talk about something if I'm not actively or not have ever gone through it. So I never want you to be like, oh, she's making me feel bad or what. No, like part of the reason I set up my camera right now and was doing this was because I'm alone on Valentine's Day. Womp womp. Why womp womp? So yeah, I don't know. I always feel like I have to add a disclaimer too, because when I really get in the flow of things, I feel like sometimes I'm not as sensitive with my words, and it's because I've literally am talking to myself, and I don't feel the need to be so soft with myself. I'm really so okay. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, but. Yeah, if you don't like hanging out with yourself, I think spend some time journaling and really ask yourself why. What's so wrong with it? What is so wrong spending a few hours with your own company and time? Even myself, like I have recently just been like, oh, I have to be alone. What is so bad about that? Genuinely, what is so wrong? I don't want to say with myself, like what is so wrong with myself that I don't, it's not about that. I think it's about like, again, I think it is about that external validation or the desire to be desired. Like and at least the way that I've maybe thought about it before is like, oh, I can't give that to myself. I can't desire myself or well, I don't want to, you can definitely validate yourself, but you know what I mean? It feels so much better getting that from someone else. But again, my whole argument is you may be getting that from someone else, like spending time with someone you don't really want to spend time with, but because they're doing that. But again, it just, I feel like makes it worse at the end of it. Cause you're like, okay, I got that, but it wasn't real in a sense because it wasn't like, it was just from somebody. It wasn't from someone. Okay, I'm trying to like be deep right now, but does that make sense? Like it was just from someone. It was just from a random person that I didn't really care about. Like I cared about them because I wanted them to care about me. God, that sounds terrible, but I really do think I don't think anyone's really ever had an original experience, and I think a lot of people can understand what I'm saying. Like it's never really about the other person when I say I'm picking you to hang out with you. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm not doing that this year, I don't think. I'm not hanging out with anyone this year unless it's my friends. So that's it. Like, I can feel in this phase and moment of my life that I really am growing in a way and really growing with men and relationships in the sense to where I do think my standards are rising. And I don't think they were super high the past year or past few months, but the reason why I say they're rising is because I feel more okay being by myself. I feel more okay with spending the day alone. I'm my own Valentine. I got Starbucks, okay? It doesn't take a lot to make me happy or satisfied. I went grocery shopping and I got good food, which is such a bigger blessing than we realize. I have Galinda, my cat. Yeah, like it's okay to spend Valentine's Day alone. It's okay let me say this too. It's also okay to want to spend Valentine's Day with someone. I'm not saying like, no, like I'm not being like, you can't want that. No, I do. I want that too. Like, do I wish I was spending Valentine's Day with someone? Yeah, a little bit, but it's also like, I can understand and appreciate why I'm not. I can understand or realize the fact that like just not this year, and maybe not next year, and maybe not the year after, but that doesn't mean it's never going to happen. And I've said this before in previous episodes of how I'm such a big believer in everything happens the way it's supposed to, and like there's this divine timeline that we like that is meant for us, and blah blah this and blah blah that. And it's like it's like the way you could also look at it is like, okay, to be able to spend this holiday with someone else, I need to spend it alone first. I think there's just many more positive ways to look at Valentine's Day as a whole than not. And so, yeah. And so let me ask you another question. Let's say you do have someone to spend Valentine's Day with, but it's someone you like kind of just met, you know, you're not even together, but they asked you to be their Valentine, or maybe they didn't. They were just like, hey, let's hang out on this day. Okay, is that something that you're willing to accept when everything that can be provided for you can also be given to you by yourself? Are you willing to accept spending Valentine's Day with someone that isn't someone you want to keep hanging out with? I don't know. Maybe it's a casual thing, and maybe you're good at casualness, and that's completely fine. Like, who am I? Spend Valentine's Day with whoever you want, obviously. But I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of alone versus with someone, are you willing to accept hanging out with someone that like you don't really like? Again, the whole spending time with someone just to hang out with someone. Like, I think we forget to realize, and here it is, here comes my point that I've been trying to get to. Like, I don't think we realize we can be as picky and choosy as we want. We can be as specific as we want with who we want to give our time to. We can say no, and that will totally be fine, and someone else will come along. And if we feel like, okay, they're up to par with me and who I am and where I'm going in life, then I will spend Valentine's Day with you. But if you're not, I can choose to say no, and I'll still have a good time because I enjoy myself. I don't need you. So I think that's another way to look at Valentine's Day and spending it alone, is like, if you have the option to spend it with someone else, is it actually going to give you what you want? Or is it just going to give you a few hours to not be alone? Things to think about. I think this is a really good day to reflect on how you feel about being alone and being with yourself, and what you really want out of a holiday like this. You know, what do you really want to achieve on a holiday like this? And you can ask yourself, what do I want to achieve on a holiday like this alone? And what do I want to achieve on a holiday like this if I'm with someone? And I think just being very specific and choosy is the best way to figure out your feelings. I journaled yesterday a lot, like more than once basically, and it really helped me. Like honestly, and I haven't journaled in months. I think the last time I journaled was when I was like, well, okay. I actually journaled, I think, sometime this month before I journaled a lot yesterday, but I think just spending this time, if you are alone, to really be honest with yourself, whether that's on paper or in front of a camera, whatever it may be, like, could be very beneficial. Even if you are with someone, and just giving yourself some time. This day is all about love. It doesn't have to be love you're giving to someone else. It doesn't have to be receiving love from someone else. There's so much free will hanging alone. If you are alone this year, today, on Valentine's Day, I promise it's not going to be like that every year. And when I say alone, I don't even mean fully alone. Like, you could be hanging out with your friends today. I mean, specifically if you do not have a romantic love interest in your life this year, and it's kind of weighing you down, or it's making you upset, even though you might be spending it with friends, or you might be spending it completely alone. it doesn't have to be like that every year. I understand that you can't really always pick and choose, oh, I want to spend it with someone this year or not, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibility we can look forward to, especially on a day like this where we can so easily change the narrative. It's not going to necessarily be easy, but if you just battle those negative thoughts or have them anyway, but do actions that combat them, I think you'll be just fine. Take the day to journal if you're really going to be alone, or again, do something so free will. Do something you usually make excuses about doing. Do something. I really, please, for the love of Valentine's Day, don't do nothing. Don't just sit in your room and be upset. Don't just like stare at the wall waiting for the time to go by and it be a different day. No, you deserve better than that. You deserve to give yourself better than that. Do something today. Do something nice for yourself. Do something nice for someone else, like your friends or whoever. If you are spending Valentine's Day with someone else, I hope you have a good day. No, I'm just kidding. I do hope you have a good day, and I hope you are spending it with someone you actually want to spend it with, and someone that will actually fulfill you, instead of just spending it with someone who will give you some of their time in exchange for validation or whatever it may be. It's a day about love. It can be a day about healing, and vice versa. So just do something. Do anything. Also, okay, hear me out. One final point. You never know who you could meet. You never know what you do you never know what you end up doing might lead to where or who or whatever. So think about that whole possibility too. I'm going to go on a walk. Okay, you go on a walk, you meet someone, and it unfolds from there. There's so much possibility. So don't sit there being like, I'm alone on Valentine's Day. You could start the day like that, and you might not end it that way. You never know. Go do something. Go meet someone. Go be social. And there's a whole world out there of possibility and choices and connection with real people that want to connect with you, instead of like the whole superficial, shallow connection. No Valentines will be the same every single year. And I think there's something to appreciate in that, and there's beauty in that. So go figure it out. Go do something. You never know. There's possibility. Combat the negative thoughts, and being alone is a good thing. I promise. It can be if you let it. So happy Valentine's Day. And yeah, I guess that's it. I think I'm going to be spending Valentine's Day alone or with friends, but I'm having a good day so far, and not to toot my own horn, but I look phenomenal. So I look phenomenal because I gave myself reason to look phenomenal for Valentine's Day. Okay, bye.